money issues? There's someone local you can talk to. Financial Coaching Radio with certified financial planner Jason Qualls. Weekdays at 4 on News Radio WGNS. The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And good morning and welcome to Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And we come to you every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock here on WGNS with a focus on the northern end of the county. But sometimes we delve off into subjects that affects the entire county community. And want to welcome you in and welcome to summer, and would like to remind everybody to stay as cool as you can and be hydrated. Would like to say this morning a shout out to Brandon Baldwin of Baldwin Construction for installation of a permanent basketball goal provided by the Smyrna Rotary Club for the Isaiah 117 program. I got a text that I would like to read from Beth Bryant with Isaiah 115, and if I can locate this, that she wanted to thank the Smyrna Rotary Club for donating the permanent basketball goal, and to thank Brandon with Baldwin Construction for installing the basketball goal here at the Isaiah House of Rutherford County. They are a nonprofit here in Rutherford County that provides emotional and physical support in our community while waiting for foster placement in a safe and loving home. The house in Rutherford County has been open a little over a year, and since then has served 300 children thanks to the support of the community. Their annual fundraiser, or their annual lemonade stand challenge, is coming up the weekend of July 12th through the 14th. If your family, church, neighborhood, or business would like to host a lemonade stand to raise money for the Rutherford County house, you can email rutherfordtnlemonade at Isaiah117house.com. And if you don't know how to spell Isaiah, pick up your family Bible, and I'm sure that will help you right along. But just an amazing program here, taking care of our children here in Rutherford County that are in distressed situations. Would like to also extend our condolences to the family of Jack Jolly, longtime teacher and coach here in Rutherford County. His 1960 Smyrna High School football team was undefeated, and he retired from Rutherford County schools after 35 years. He taught and coached at various schools. I also understand that he worked as a scout for a couple of Major League Baseball teams. Would like to say congratulations to the Tennessee Volunteers playing in the World Series, and hope they will continue to progress, I guess you could say. So this morning, Brother Rick is out riding horses with his beautiful bride along the river. So he won't be with us this morning, but we will try to carry on without him. I have a special guest with me this morning, longtime friend, but has served thousands of children here in our county community. Soon to be retiring principal, Miss Kellye Goosetree, and this is a great compliment and honor for me that you came in and are with us this morning. So thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Well, you have a lot to share. You've served our county community for so long, hanging up your cleats here at the end of the month. And Rick and I always try to have our guests talk about themselves and their family. Of course, you you've got so much to brag about. So the whole show could be on that. But I know there's a special MTSU bond because of your dad. So just kind of talk about yourself, talk about your, growing up, and of course certainly want to talk about your dad and your family.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you asking. Well, let's see. My background is I was born to Gerald Johnson and Eloise, fondly called Miss Ellie, and they were a mighty force, the two of them together. He was a coach and a teacher, and my mother was a personnel director at St. Thomas Medical, so she did books for doctors and a lot of HR things. About 100 employees there. She had a busy, hectic job that was demanding, and he did as well, coaching, teaching for many years. So I kind of grew up just having parents that really put my feet on the path.
Sure.
And, just made sure I knew the simple things, right from wrong, and rewards and consequences, and church on Sunday, and
kind of like being a principal. Huh?
Yeah. I think you could say I was ordained to be something in education. I was kind of a nerd growing up in school. Didn't miss any days, with that educator parent. He was a Marine, and
oh, wow.
before, early on, before he married. And so I woke up every morning. We didn't need an alarm clock. I woke up from the halls of Montezuma, which he sang heartily from the shower every morning. And our house was always filled with family and students, and I grew up on baseball fields, not a player, but in gyms and on sidelines at football. He had 3 daughters, and we were all dismal disappointments athletically.
Oh,
that was
poor guy.
It was before Title IX. We were cheerleaders.
So was he old enough to be in World War II?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, fortunately, he missed that.
Right,
then.
he did. He did miss that, but he drove a Greyhound bus. He did a little bit of everything.
Wow.
He did go to get his master's degree at MTSU on his GI Bill when he got out.
Go Blue.
Yes, and of course he, they just instilled a lot of those things in me growing up. Just the hard work and things weren't really hard for them. Decisions I think that other people struggle with. They just kind of did life well, and we were all the benefactor of that. I mean, we just grew up having a solid upbringing, and it really made a difference. He did go to MTSU, and he played all 3 sports all 4 years he was there,
Wow.
which is, I don't think it's been done since then. Everybody's so specialized now.
Yes.
Bubba Murphy said that he was probably the greatest all-around athlete he ever coached.
That's quite the compliment coming from Coach Murphy.
It was, and those were bonds. That whole coaching community were just extremely close bonds, especially back in those days. It wasn't a job; it was a calling, and it was a lot of boys. We lived in Nashville, so he coached at Maplewood, and he had a lot of kids that he was really more than a coach. He was, oftentimes somewhat of a father figure.
Sure.
And did things for those boys and made differences that I saw play out my whole life when, just that community. Those coaches were close. They were competitive as heck. It was some cutthroat ball. I mean, I think it seems like if I remember right, I think Maplewood had about like 100 wins in the, pretty much just a winning decade
Right.
in the 70s.
Story program.
Yes, well followed, which is when my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, played for him.
Oh, no.
So, that's a tough calling. Not too many people accept, dating the coach's daughter.
Well, we had Judge Fan on several weeks ago, and of course, Judge Fan married Coach Rakes or Mr. Rakes' daughter.
Yes.
So that's I can empathize with that.
Yeah, that was you miss curfew, you might do a few extra laps, the next day on the field, or roll up and down, or different things.
Yeah, the old Nashville Interscholastic League, NIL, which that has a different connotation today in collegiate sports. So Maplewood was quite the quite the program. Overton. I mean, they just
Oh yeah.
some really
Stratford.
Yeah,
and-
Stratford. Some neat rivalries there.
That's in fact, there's a good on Facebook. There's a great NIL page. Do you follow that?
I haven't, but
It's
I may.
amazing. My cousin
Yeah.
Mike Organ set that up, but it's you can do searches in it. It's
Is he your cousin?
amazing. Yes.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a fabulous site. You can look at you can type somebody's name in. You can even do a search engine in it and find anything you want to. So
I will. I'll make it a point
yeah,
to do
it's
that.
really it's cool.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
Thank
it's
you.
a good page. But anyway, he went to MTSU. Actually, he started at Vanderbilt. Went and played at Vanderbilt the first year, and his story was that the academics at Vanderbilt were standing in the way of his athletic career. So, but I think that was a little tongue in cheek because he was a smart guy.
I'm sure.
But he ended up going with another player that was started at Vanderbilt and went up to MTSU, and he went along for the ride. And the coach said, "Gerald, why don't you stay and make it 2-for-1 here?" And he never looked back. He loved that school and is in the Hall of Fame there, the Athletic Hall of Fame.
So he definitely bled blue then.
He absolutely did. Yes.
So what positions did he play
Yeah.
in each sport?
He was receiver. He was I think that's just receiver. He was tight end. I think he was tight end at some points.
Okay.
He played both sides. He was just an all around
Back in
athlete.
those days, they would have gone
Yeah.
probably both ways.
Yeah, he was a first baseman.
Okay.
He was a forward in basketball.
Well,
But,
now, how tall was he?
He was 6'4". He's a big guy.
Especially in that day.
But
that
he was a skinny guy. Football, he was a little thinner, but
Yeah.
but he was he was an outstanding athlete and had that all his life. And as I said, we're 3 girls. I remember my little sister. He cut the fingers out of a glove to try to show her how to dribble on her fingertips, and we were just like, bless his
That is
heart,
brilliant.
bless his
Okay.
heart. He tried.
So were you the middle child or the?
I was the middle child.
So do you have the middle child syndrome?
Absolutely, and all the good things.
Okay.
I'm the peacemaker, the unifier,
That's
the comedian.
Okay.
all
Yeah.
the things that keep the family
all
together.
Of the above.
Are you middle child?
I'm 2 older sisters, 2 younger brothers, and a younger sister. So quasi middle,
Kind of in
I
there.
guess. So yeah. So having 2 older sisters and 2 younger brothers probably makes me kind of a middle child. So I was a good one too. So
Unfortunately, in years to come, that both my parents suffered from Alzheimer's, and which was such a hard thing because they led such interesting and full lives, and I'm getting ready to be retired, and you hope that you've made a contribution and that you can remember those things as time goes on. So it was really hard to see them not have the capacity to recall those things and to keep those relationships up. And my mother was sick for 10 years. My dad was only sick a few years.
Oh wow.
Like 3 or 4. But again, with that coaching community and just his players, I don't think he ever had more than a day or 2 without a visitor. There were always people
wow.
there, and he could recall those stories. Alzheimer's is short-term memory, but you can tell those old stories. He could go through those for a pretty long time and remember scores and plays and just interesting, funny things, and he shared those. But it was really difficult for them to both be sick at the same time.
We've tried to make an emphasis here on this show of the Isaiah House because of the good that they do with children, and also the Alzheimer's Association of Middle Tennessee. We've had Cheryl Blanchard on, I think, maybe 3 or 4 times, and both of those issues are so traumatic either for a child or for your loved one and the child or a loved one coming behind. So it's a long, distressing disease.
It is. It was fortunately, both they had my dad had a farm in Spring Hill, and they sold that back in the 80s when Saturn came in, and that enabled them to have good care.
Good.
And that was a big blessing for us because they were in the Cumberland and Green Hills, and we were able to be daughters and not be caregivers. And that was a blessing for sure,
Right.
to be able to just go and spend time with them and remind, help them kind of hang on to some of those things for as long as they could. And I guess that's, when you talk about that, Alzheimer's, I think that's one of the things that family members, if I had advice to give, I would say to keep things as normal as you can for as long as you can, and be ready to adjust. They're not the same people with the same memories, but if they loved singing and music, or watching old movies, or talking about sports when they were, when they had all their faculties, then still do those things and just try to serve them in that moment. They're not going to remember it later on.
Right.
But in the moment, you're providing some comfort and peace and happiness to them. And I'm grateful that I, had the wherewithal to do those things when the time came, and hope that, my kids were watching.
Sure. Right. Was it Nancy Reagan, I think, that said, she called it the long goodbye?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who.
It is, yes.
Okay. I mean, Rick and I have just, decided to make some things, just kind of the focus of our radio program, and Isaiah 117 and the Alzheimer's program, are both, we focus very large on both of those. So God bless you for taking care of your parents.
Well, thank you.
Because it just goes full circle, doesn't it?
It does. It never felt like a burden in any way. It just, they took care of me.
Sure.
They're responsible. If I hadn't had those folks to point me in the direction, then my life wouldn't be what it was. And I everything that you take from them over the years. My mother was they were very strong in the community. They did so many things for other people. Mother was the head of her alumni association. She sang in the ensemble for East High, even at 60 years old, and they kept those things alive. She's responsible for helping to get the alumni house on the historic register at East High, and decorated it, and took great pride in that, and in the relationships she had with the people. And that's something I don't see as much anymore. I think people grow up, and you just keep evolving into the next stage, and you don't hang on to those old things. And I think that made them who they were. It made them rich, full lives, and it made them interesting. And I had the benefit of that. She'd hold those reunions at her house.
Sure.
And just really, we're give back people.
We've just grown here so quickly. I know that there's a lot of, homegrown people that are trying to do exactly what you just described. But, we've grown so fast and become such a melting pot of people from everywhere. It's difficult to keep that small town or that small community mentality, but I know there's a lot of people out there still trying to work for that, but it's a challenge with so many new faces coming into the community, the county community, and our municipalities each day, as you will. What about your two sisters? Are they education professionals as well?
No, my sister was a heart research nurse, and my other sister went to University of Missouri and was in journalism, and within a year was associate producer of the news at Channel 4. I noticed you had Demetria Caldemos on not too long ago, and she was she worked there with her, had children, and went home and took care of her kids after that. But different fields, very different fields. Nursing, of course, is a service industry, and so I think that was, that's kind of a family trait that you're getting back into something that gives like that.
Yeah.
But both raised wonderful children, and accomplished, educated, happy people. So that's kind of the most important thing, I guess. If your family is not okay, nothing else is really all in place.
Right. So what part of Nashville did you grow up in?
East Nashville.
East Nashville. Okay.
Yeah, right outside Shelby Park.
Okay. Well, gosh, that is the Zach doesn't live far. Hillary lived there at one time, but has moved more to the zoo area, whatever they call it, Woodbine, I guess.
Yes.
And East Nashville is the place to live apparently now.
Well, it was then, and that it's certainly been regentrified. It's beautiful, and but I mean, I loved growing up there in the '60s. Simple time, you could ride your bike to the park, and there were really no worries about anything
Right.
like that. Everything you did was within 5 miles of your house. Your parents worked that close. Your church was that close. All your friends were right around. So it was a pretty simple time.
And neighbors watched after each other.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
your friends' parents would tell on you.
That's
And
right.
your parents would
That's
tell
right.
on them if they saw something amiss.
That's right. Absolutely. Schools were, we had great schools. I did start school in the '60s in segregated schools in Nashville. So even though I'm about to be 64, it kind of makes my head spin how much things grew and changed. And
Right.
when schools were integrated, I left from Rosebank and went to Caldwell, Bailey, Meigs, a lot of places. Sometimes I was on a bus till 5 o'clock getting home, and those were challenges, during those times. And
Excuse me.
I think academically, some things were kind of tough. When you go through big changes like that, big shifts, things are kind of tough. But I think there was so much to be learned in, just emotional intelligence and relationships and just growing and learning, that I think that really contributed to my peace of mind, my success throughout my
Sure.
career. I'm comfortable in. I don't have to have things a certain way. I'm comfortable with a lot of different kinds of folks and different ideas, and it turned out to be a great thing. And in going into education, that's something I've seen when I'm in an assembly and I'm looking out at my crowd, and I see, every race represented, and I literally think, this is what Dr. King was talking about.
Right.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
We've hit it. We're at the dream.
Yeah.
We're all here together. Everybody has the same opportunities, and these kids don't even think of things that we thought of.
Sure.
So it really is it's really quite the growth when you think of where things were to where we are now.
All right. So not athletic bone in your body then?
Well, wanna be.
Well, I think that might be all of us.
Well, I mean, actually now, at the ripe old age of 61, I started to run.
Oh, okay.
So I run 5 miles almost every day.
That's great.
So usually, at least 30 a week, and love it. Some days my favorite part of running is finishing,
Amen.
but
Yeah.
but I do it. I'm religious about it. It's provided me with I think I saw myself kind of aging before my time a little bit there, and I thought, I want to be able to move and do and take care of myself for as long as I can, and that really has provided me with that. Just the peace of mind and certainly the calorie burning, and it makes
Sure.
you conscientious about other
Well, it's
things in your life.
Good cardiovascular health.
It is.
So that's pretty. So talk about education from childhood to
Mm-hmm.
to now where you're retiring as one of our best administrators.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. Well, growing up, like I said, I had lots of different opportunities in education. I started school when I was 4 because the age was a little different. So I graduated at 17.
Wow.
And, so I was kind of, a little on the young side. Loved reading and English and writing and all those things. Wasn't so much into math. Learned later on when I went to college that developmentally my mind was. That's my story is my mind was not ready for the math instruction, and I'm sticking
Amen,
to that.
sister. Say it again.
But I did make it through those courses in college. But I was young enough when I graduated that I didn't immediately go to school. I married young, my high school sweetheart I was talking
That's
about
pretty
before,
cool.
and we had a wonderful life. Raised 2 kids. They're just great people, and proud of them. And but I went to school when I went to school at 32 because my dad said I had a business, and he said, what are your thoughts about long term? So he was still kind of being my inspiration even as an adult, and he encouraged me to go back to school. He said, I always thought you'd make a good teacher.
Quite the compliment.
And I said, well, if he said it, it must be true. So
That's what you call trusting your father.
It is. I started at Vol State because we lived in Sumner County at the time, and I started at Vol State Community College and walked through those doors for the first time at 32, and it was a little bit of a shell shock to go back into that. But my husband got he was with Coca-Cola, and he got a branch. He ran the Laverne branch, so we moved because it was 50 miles away. So we moved out here to Smyrna in '93, and I transferred at Christmas to MTSU. And I was definitely the non-traditional student at MTSU.
Certainly.
I was the one that when I was in the bookstore looking for a book, people came up to me and asked me if I could help them because they thought I worked there. I was the one on the front row of the American history lecture saying, is there going to be a test on this?
Also, you probably had students saying, what are you doing here?
Yeah, absolutely. Did every study session. I was very cognizant and very appreciative of that community and who I was around, and that those were that was the most intellectually stimulating group I was probably ever going to be around. People going everywhere with all kinds of goals and ideas, and I really appreciated it, which is one thing I can say, the things you miss when you go a little bit older. You didn't have maybe the fun and that kind of community that you did when you were young. I really capitalized on the education part, and had some great professors. Bob Bullen.
Oh,
my
Dr.
gosh.
Bullen, just
Amazing.
amazing. I mean, he just as a commissioner, he was
was.
responsible for really helping in the Rutherford County school program.
Oh, absolutely. And he would introduce us to so many different people that he would bring to class, state senators and just all kinds of folks. And I remember the young kids would be like, what is this about? What are we learning with this? And I mean, he introduced me to people that I networked with, when I became a teacher, later
cool.
on.
Yeah.
If you'll put your headphones on, there's someone on the phone that wants to talk to Principal Goosetree here.
my
So
goodness.
we'll this may be a first for you, Wayne. I don't know. First or second or third, but
Maybe a second.
okay. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Wayne Steve Sandlin, former county commissioner, and Ms. Goosetree, I'm just so, well, the industry's losing a great principal. Ms. Goosetree was just an awesome lady in the community, just thought community first, thought kids first, thought parents first, and just really pulled Blackman and, Smyrna and Murfreesboro together right there with Stewart's Creek, and just did an overwhelmingly job. And you just don't get many principals with that heartfelt strive for those students to succeed and to be somebody afterwards. And that went through all of your the teachers that you hired and the SROs that were there, and just through your whole administration. You can tell you had your hand on all of it and just made it work. And well, we're just a better community for you, and we appreciate you, and we love you.
No, Mr. Sandlin, I appreciate that so much. What kind words, and I feel the same way about you guys, your family. I was lucky enough to teach your children. I taught Wayne's children. His niece teaches for me now.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it just, and I remember that. I remember going to that little Blackman Community Club, the little
The barbecue.
Taj Mahal of Blackman with my little laptop and all my big ideas. And you guys were so gracious to me, and bringing 3 schools together to make a new one. Nobody really wants to leave their schools. They're loyal to them, and it was just a great experience because of the community as a whole, and making me feel welcome and supporting us, and which is just the cornerstone of a good school. for people to, to dig in and make it better, and not be critical and, tear it down, to feel like it's really a team effort. So thank you so much for that.
Well said, Commissioner, and thank you.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your show. And I ain't heard Rick this morning. Is Rick there this morning?
Rick's out riding horses along the river with his lovely bride.
But your son Zach is there?
No, sir. Zach's at work.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard Zach or something, or you said Zach's name maybe. But hey, enjoy your show. And,
thank you,
Ms. Goosetree. Enjoy your retirement. We're gonna miss you. Come to the Blackman Community Club and have some fun there. We'll probably see you playing pickleball or something down there.
That sounds wonderful. It's an invitation. I'll be there. Thank you.
But God bless you, and thank you very much for all your service, and wish you the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we thank Commissioner for calling in, and we're going to take our first break now. So we'll be back in just a few.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Spring has sprung, and that means it's time to start planning for your summer road trips. With Bud's Tire Pros by your side, your vehicle will be ready to see the mountains, the beaches, and everything in between. With Bud's Tire Pros' full line of Michelin tires and products, you'll have the peace of mind to hit the road no matter what you drive. Bud's Tire Pros is only 3.5 miles from the Murfreesboro Square. Call Bud's Tire Pros at 896-TIRE or online, Bud's Tire Pros, TN.com.
Learn to make money 5 ways with rental real estate. Double your money with apartments. And get your map to financial freedom. And that map starts with a free workshop. Sign up now at lifestylesunlimited.com. Click on the Join Free Workshop tab and attend online or in person. That's lifestylesunlimited.com. Lifestylesunlimited.com. Again, that's lifestylesunlimited.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
I've got pests, bees, buzzing rodents running all through my house. Ants chewing wood, and look, there's a mouse. I'm overrun with pests, but you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. Call the best of the best to get rid of your pests.
893-7111. AmeriCare Services Incorporated. Call us today. 893-7111.
For over 77 years, you've depended on WGNS for local news. Well, you still can. There are 2 free grief support groups every week. One's at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning over at the St. Clair Street Senior Center. That's at 325 St. Clair Street. Wednesday mornings at 10. The other's a little different. It's a walking grief support group. And the walk begins at the Picnic Pavilion Thursday mornings at 9:30, right next to Oakland's Mansion. They're both free and open to the public. The Parkinson Support Group meets on the first and third Friday of each month, 10 o'clock in the morning, at the St. Clair Street Senior Center. Don't forget the Garden Lovers Plant Sale this Saturday from 8 until noon, right there at 290 East Main. Some great perennials, houseplants, and native plants from the club's members' gardens. Once again, the Garden Lovers Plant Sale this Saturday from 8 until noon, and that's at 290 East Main, across from Junior's Foodland. And from News Radio WGNS, those are Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
Partial sunshine develops here for this afternoon, high in the low 90s. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low near 72. Wednesday, sunshine, high around 91 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 80.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, MTE Sharing Change has now donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits assisting worthy causes in our community. MTE, serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back to the second segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. My buddy Rick is off riding horses along the river with his lovely bride, and so I'm solo and fortunate to have longtime friend and professional educator Kellye Goosetree. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Pleased. I guess you may want to talk. You talked about Dr. Bullen. I'd say there's probably a couple other mentors you might like to mention.
I did. Absolutely. I would. I will say Dr. Bullen once told me some things people tell you over the years kind of stick with you. And I remember him telling us once, you should, in that Dr. Bullen voice, you should teach all children as though they were your own, or at least your sister's kids. Doesn't that sound like it?
That sounds like Dr.
And
Bullen.
I mean, I always thought about that.
Yeah.
That really resonated with me.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough when I graduated and went. Teaching's one of the only professions you can go into that age is a plus. I already had children that had been in school. I had some maturity. I had some life experience. So when I met Harry Gill, who was opening Cedar Grove at the time, it was the first 21st century school, computers. I mean, it was the sought after place.
Sure.
Everybody wanted to teach there. And he was actually the assistant principal at Rockville at the time. And when I went to interview with him, I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, well, I have an interview at Smyrna Elementary on Monday morning. And he said, this was a Friday afternoon. He said, well, what time is your interview? And I said, 8:30. He said, I'll see you at Rockville at 7:30.
Oh, wow.
So I went to see him and just immediately knew within the first couple of minutes that, a lucky star had shone on me.
Can I tell you a quick Mr. Gill
Sure.
story? Zach and Hillary were rezoned to Cedar Grove,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a new school, and they were already situated where they were. So I took a couple of zone exemptions to him to ask him to sign for them to stay where they had been previously zoned, and he signed them, and he said, I just want you to know you're doing your children a disservice by not allowing them to come here, because I can assure you they're going to get the best education possible. And I walked out of the building, stopped on the sidewalk, thought for a couple of minutes, went back in the building and said, here, Mr. Gill, they're coming here. So, and of course they had...
Good call.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was the best call, and just had a great experience under his leadership, and just had just first-rate faculty.
No. Yeah, he absolutely did. That coaching mentality, that
Yes,
putting
ma'am.
teams together, that simple thinking of, set high expectations, set things up for people to be successful, support them, and it built, I feel like, one of the premier schools we've ever had in the county.
It did.
So many people have teachers and students, but teachers have come through there who are administrators, who are directors, have really just, and they put a lot of emphasis on that. It was a K-8 school at the time. So I really feel like, I was middle school, I really feel like those kids were so solid before they left our school. They were just ready, and they were so vested in the community, and many of them had younger brothers and sisters, and their families had been involved in the school for 12, 15 years once you put 2 or 3 kids through it. And it was just really a strong bond. He was cutting edge, the things he wanted to do. He wasn't, no trepidation at all about stepping out and being unique, doing looking to get year-round school, which we ran both calendars for a year.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know. I don't either. I don't know. When I think about it now, I don't know how we ran all that and how it was such a big school. And like 12 kindergarten teachers, in one grade level. And he lobbied for, trying out for school uniforms, seeing if we could do that. He would send surveys out and get parent input, and just was so respected. He had an idea and a vision for that place, and he was always open to hearing what somebody had to say, and he would listen to those contributions, and he would help us listen thoughtfully and not feel like every question was an affront, but really consider what people's points of view were. And he had that fist to five thing. I know you've seen that. He'd call teachers in and he'd go, "Hey, here's an idea," and he'd tell us the idea. What do you think of that fist to five? And if you loved it, you'd say 5. If you thought it was terrible, you'd do 0. But you kind of knew what he wanted to do.
Yes,
kind of
ma'am.
knew, so you usually would go with that.
Yes, ma'am.
But he was just a real supporter of teachers, and somebody with only a few words that could really bring out the best in you, really inspire you. When he'd just say "good job" or "I appreciate that," or that was a great idea you had, you made a difference, you just wanted more of that,
Sure.
And so he just really built teams. He was ahead of his time in putting together grade level teams, which now we call professional learning communities.
Right.
And people have made millions on that, but he was doing it before it was it was in vogue.
Well, and that segued right into director of schools as well. He used
Yes.
those same principles.
He did.
Leading the entire school system.
He did. We were fortunate to have him. He was a great director of schools.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
just highly respected. And that's what I was going to say. Even if you didn't agree with Mr. Gill, you respected him.
Sure.
And it was because everything he did went back to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
He never lost that, even when he was in the director's office. What's best for kids?
Sure.
What's going to help them be successful? What's going to help them be productive? What's going to help them be good citizens? Just the basic things, And like I said, even if you had a different idea, you wanted it, you wanted to follow in his footsteps because, he was successful. He was a successful athlete in school, a coach, a teacher, when he was a kid, all through principal and director. I feel fortunate. He tells a story that I was the first teacher he hired when he became a principal at Cedar Grove, and I was the first principal he hired when he became a director.
How cool is that? Yeah.
So that was, I've tried to model myself after him and,
Sure.
and find the best people you can find, which I think I still am able to do, even though the pool is not what it was.
Sure.
When I opened when I went to him and asked him if I could open Brown's Chapel, because he left me with Cedar Grove and gave me that, and I stayed there for 6 years as principal, and I loved it. But when I had the opportunity to go to Brown's Chapel, I was nervous as a cat to go ask him because he gave me his baby, and how do you say I'm going to give your baby back?
Sure.
And but he was so gracious and wanted and wanted to know why I wanted those things, and basically I wanted to do what he'd done. I wanted
Sure.
to open a school and see that go up from the ground up and be a part of all of those things from start to finish, and he gave me that opportunity, and I was so grateful for it, and I found those people the way I felt like he did. I used to have 200 applicants for a teaching position. I might have 20 now.
Wow.
Or even less. And but I still have been able to find wonderful quality people who are coming into it for the right reasons. When you think of what every year when you're looking at that and who would I need to hire and how do I put these teams together, when you're looking at what's most important to be in a teacher, it's so hard to say because it's you have to care about the kids, of course. You have to be intelligent. You have to be a go-getter, and it's all important. Every single piece of that. It's like saying what's most important with a mother or any of these jobs. It's all encompassing, and I think you just have to be you have to look for those people that can combine the best of all those things, and that that have the motivation and the stamina in this day and time to do it, because it's gotten more and more. When I think back on my beginning days, it seemed a lot simpler than it does now. There's a lot more to it. So I just applaud those people who accept that call. I tell them when I'm hiring people, how vested I am in them and how much I appreciate that they're willing to come into this field because it's hard. It's a challenge now.
You got to have a passion for children, don't you?
You absolutely do.
Yeah. We'll take our final break here, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with soon to be retired principal of Browns Chapel Elementary, Miss Kellye Goosetree. And pleased to have you this morning.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
The Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street in downtown Murfreesboro.
We are very blessed to have volunteers, to have friends that are decorators that come in and merchandise our store and do our window displays that help with linens, that help with jewelry, that help just make the store look really nice.
Proceeds from sales benefit Greenhouse Ministries, a faith-based nonprofit serving the underserved here in Murfreesboro. The Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street, across from the tall NHC building.
If you're into riveting crime series, Hulu has what you want to see this month. Stream Mastermind to Think Like a Killer, the story of a woman who invented modern serial killer profiling. Then get your fix with The Perfect Wife, based on a bizarre real-life kidnapping. And don't miss Cult Massacre, the definitive documentary on the 1978 Jonestown Massacre. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Hulu and catch all this and so much more.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
And welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. Brother Rick is out this morning riding horses with his lovely bride along the river. I think he texted me this morning. It was raining where he is, but hopefully they'll still have time to saddle up and go. So this morning it's certainly been my pleasure to have longtime friend and education professional Kellye Goosetree. And I know there's a lot of people that are disappointed that you're hanging up your cleats, but God bless you for all your years with our community's children.
Well, thank you. It is definitely bittersweet. I didn't really make the decision to retire until probably about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was kind of toying with it this year, but honestly, I didn't know if I had another August left in me. August is tough.
Sure.
And it's my 21st year as principal. So, it's just, I felt like it was time to, while my heart is in it and I still love it, you want to leave when those are the feelings and not when you're,
sure.
When you're kind of burned out. So
if you're running 5 miles a day, you're in pretty good health. So you should have some time to enjoy these retirement time.
Exactly. You want to leave when you when you feel like you're excited about the next chapter. And so I did make that decision. It's really hard to leave the kids and the teachers. It's in fact I'm at school this month and no one's there, and I'm actually running in the halls and in the gym because it's so hot outside. So it's become really a kind of, as I'm coming through there, it's just the finality of it is kind of settling in. Sure. And it's hard, but I do feel, I feel blessed. Christina Penny is coming in after me, and she kind of reminds me of me 20 years ago, with all of it in front of her, and she's excited and she's enthusiastic. We share a lot of core values. I think she looks at education in many of the same ways, and I'm just optimistic and excited to see what she'll do. You know, because that's a special place to me, and I want it to continue to be that. I want it to continue to serve the students and to get better. I'm not one bit worried that she's going to do, you know, that I'm going to worry about how the two of us look together. I want it to be great. I want it to move forward and really mean something to the kids. And I'm excited about her being there. But it is hard to leave the children and to leave, you know, just the daily experiences of them coming in, the hugs, the stories, the one-liners, you know, just all the little things that I will reflect on that have just fill your life, fill your heart. I don't know what is going to fill that void. There's a lot of different things, my family, and just so many great things that I'm looking forward to. But that's just been special. That's really been a special thing to me, and I hope I have the ability and the opportunity to reflect on that going forward. It has just been the thrill of my life to open that school. A lot of things I thought when I started there, I was 48 years old, and boy, I was in a different place than I am now. When I reflect on a lot of great things,
yes, ma'am.
A lot of sad things. You know, I've lost both my parents, and I lost my husband. In fact, my mother passed away. I lost my husband to a very rare non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and a very short battle, about 6 months. And he took it, just was a trooper and passed away with dignity and without complaint, and made things so much easier. Just valiant for us, you know, that it wasn't, it was as livable as it could be for the rest of us. And when I think back on that, I just, I'm grateful that I had that community, that school community, because they became my family and my extended family, and they supported me and my children and my grandchildren. All my grandchildren went through, my school, walked those halls, and it just meant so much. In fact, one of my granddaughters will be teaching this fall.
That's cool. I think Dr. Sullivan has found that the community has wrapped their arms around him and his family. So, and
they have.
He just has become an even bigger family.
They have, like they really have, and what a tragedy that's been. And I just let him know just recently that I feel like I don't know that we've ever joined together as a system in the same way. So heartfelt, such support, such prayer, such grieving. Even if you didn't know Asher, you feel like you did.
Yeah, I pray for him every night.
I do too. It's rough.
I think you had another the memorial you wanted to talk about?
Yes. Actually, a year after my husband passed away, I was coming home from Browns Chapel one June afternoon, and I witnessed that crash.
Oh, wow.
And it was just a shock. I was used to seeing the Blue Angels. I live right down near the lake, and I saw them practicing all the time. And I came home and just happened to see them up there, and it came down right in the field behind where Sam Davis' home is.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
In fact, I was the first 911 call, and tearfully shared that to a tearful call taker, and that started the journey. I was involved with that from that point on. I let Mr. Gill know about that immediately, and I talked to the mayor as well. And Mayor Reed is an unbelievable supporter of schools as well. Former teacher, has been great to me and great to our school and our whole system. And I was asked to be a part of that committee. And that committee was just initially we were hoping to build a little statue. We were contracting and looking at people that could design something for us, and we just wanted to do something immediately. The whole community came together, and we're grieving over that and wanted to do something to support the Blue Angels and to support Captain Coos. And ultimately, we were able to parlay that beginning little idea into actually getting a plane from Pensacola on loan from the
Didn't hurt to have Admiral Taylor involved, did it?
It did not hurt. It did not hurt. He was my neighbor, too, from right down the street.
Oh,
yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay.
And
great man.
Yeah, he was a great man. That was an unbelievable opportunity for me, and an honor to be in that, involved in that from the start. Just a small committee that didn't really know what we were doing, and I just feel God's hand on that at every turn. It was everywhere we called, everybody was helpful. They put us on that path to getting that plane delivered there. It came down Lowry Street with no wings on it, and was assembled there in the park, and the dedication was unbelievable. His family was there, his wife, his parents, who are just lovely human beings, Janet and Michael Coos, who just raised two great boys, and met all the angels, and they are just inspiring to see.
The memorial at night is breathtaking.
It is. It is breathtaking. Been involved in the race since they started that, and the mayor and I have been talking about since the beginning, having one of the things Janet Coos told me was that the thing that her son liked the most, her thing that Jeff liked the most other than flying, was when they did service, like the service of going into the schools, talking to kids,
oh, wow.
inspiring them,
Okay.
talking to them about community service, talking to them about the military, and that really resonated with me, and it always kind of stayed in the back of my mind. So this past year we began a scholarship fund, and we gave $6,000 in honor of his number 6 to 3 students,
Okay.
$2,000 each, and
That's impressive.
it was we just gave the checks out recently, and that money comes from the race.
Right.
The plane takes about $24,000 a year to paint and take care of the maintenance on it, so the race has made enough money for us to do that. So come on out and do the race, do the Captain Coos race.
And most of our citizens don't realize that the town is not keeping up the plane. Your committee is keeping up the plane.
It's from it's the proceeds from the night run, the Top Gun night run.
That is so way cool, Ms.
Yeah,
Goosetree.
so
That's impressive.
that's been wonderful. I'm looking forward to that. That's something I'll do in retirement. Definitely is pour more into that and expand that, and that's been a real honor and a blessing.
Well, you've got 2 major programs you've been involved with the school system and the memorial.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just all I can say is God bless you for your years of taking care of the community's children. I can't think of to go to bed at night knowing the impact that you have had on so many lives over the years. Not only the students, but the ones that take care of them as well.
I do feel blessed by that. Definitely, I know that there's people that work a lot harder than me that don't get that feedback, that feeling, and I definitely feel fortunate to have have had the opportunities I've had in this field.
Again, thank you for what you've done, and thank you for being with me this morning, especially with Brother Rick being out. So before we leave, though, again, another shout out to Brandon Baldwin with Baldwin Construction, who installed the permanent basketball goal at the Isaiah 117 house. Their fundraiser is coming up July 12th through the 14th. It's they call it the Annual Lemonade Stand Challenge. If you're interested in participating, Rutherford TN Lemonade at Isaiah117house.com. So again, Miss Goosetree, best of luck to you, and enjoy a well-earned retirement.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
And we'll be back next week with Brother Rick.